Right now, your phone is somewhere within arm's reach. You know this. You can feel it. Some part of your brain is already wondering if something happened in the last 4 minutes. You tell yourself it's a bad habit, but the real answer is far stranger than a habit. It's older than habits, older than phones, older in fact than you. To understand what's happening, you have to go back to a lab in the 1950s. A psychologist named B.F. Skinner was running a simple experiment with pigeons. He gave them a lever. Press it, get food. Easy enough. But then he changed the rules. Instead of food every time, the lever paid out at random. Sometimes nothing. Sometimes a reward. The pigeons couldn't predict when. And something unexpected happened. The birds didn't press the lever less. They pressed it more. Obsessively. Compulsively. Far more than the pigeons who got rewarded every single time. Skinner had stumbled onto something called variable reinforcement. Unpredictable rewards are more compelling than reliable ones. Your brain isn't built to crave certainty. It's built to crave the possibility of something good. And once you know that, your phone stops looking like a tool. It starts looking like a lever. Every time you unlock it, you're pulling that same lever. Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes there's a message that makes your whole day better. You can never tell which one it'll be in advance. That uncertainty isn't a flaw in the design. It is the design. But why would a human brain be so vulnerable to this in the first place? Why does uncertainty feel so magnetic? For that, you have to look inside the brain itself at a chemical most people misunderstand completely. Dopamine. You've heard the word. Most people think of it as the brain's pleasure chemical. That's not quite right. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz ran an experiment with monkeys. He'd give them a reward after a signal, like a flash of light. At first, dopamine fired when the reward arrived. Simple enough, but over time, something shifted. The dopamine surge moved earlier. It stopped firing at the reward. It started firing at the anticipation of the reward. The moment the light flashed, not the moment the food appeared. This is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Dopamine isn't about pleasure. It's about prediction. It spikes hardest not when you get something good, but when you don't know if you will. That gap, that small space of not knowing, is where dopamine lives. Schultz had found the chemical signature of anticipation itself. Now think about your phone again. The screen doesn't just deliver information. It delivers maybe. Maybe someone replied. Maybe something changed. Maybe there's nothing at all. Your brain doesn't wait for the answer to feel something. It feels something the moment the question exists. You're not checking your phone for the reward. You're checking it for the maybe. So where does this leave your ancestors? Because none of them had screens. None of them had notifications. And yet, this circuitry was already fully formed. Tens of thousands of years before the first glowing rectangle existed. Look at how early humans actually survived. Not through farming, not yet, through foraging. Anthropologist Frank Marlowe spent years studying the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer community in Tanzania, whose way of life closely mirrors that of ancient foragers. What he documented was a constant, restless decision-making process. Stay at this berry bush where the yield is shrinking, or walk to the next one where you don't know what you'll find. Every day was built from hundreds of these tiny gambles. Stay with the known, or risk the unknown for something potentially better. The foragers who got a small thrill from that uncertainty, who felt pulled toward the next ridge, the next tree line, the next unexplored patch, found more food on average than those who didn't. Across thousands of generations, that pull got wired in, not because checking the unknown always paid off, because checking it paid off often enough. Here's the part that twists the whole story. That ancient foraging instinct didn't disappear when humans stopped foraging for food. It just changed targets. You don't forage for berries anymore. You forage for information. Every scroll is a search through unfamiliar terrain. Every refresh is a walk to the next ridge. Your thumb is doing exactly what a Hadza forager's legs were doing 40,000 years ago, looking for the next patch that might be better than this one. And your brain still rewards you the same way it always did. Not with certainty, with possibility. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because the algorithms behind your phone weren't built by accident. They were built by people who understood Skinner's pigeons and Schultz's monkeys extremely well. Variable rewards. Unpredictable timing. Infinite unknown patches to forage through. one swipe at a time. The system isn't exploiting a weakness that's unique to you. It's exploiting a feature that's universal to your species. The same feature that once helped a forager find the next ripe tree. So why does it feel different now? Why does the modern version feel exhausting instead of useful? Because the ancient version had a ceiling. A forager could only walk so far in a day. The berries ran out eventually. The uncertainty was real, but it was bounded by the size of the land and the limits of the body. Your phone has no ceiling. The patches never run out. There is always one more, and then one more after that, an unbroken horizon of maybe. The instinct that once guided someone toward dinner now has no edges to stop at. Think about the last time you opened an app for 10 seconds and looked up 40 minutes later. That wasn't weak willpower. That was a 40,000-year-old foraging circuit doing exactly the job evolution gave it, in an environment evolution never prepared you for. Does this mean you're powerless against it? Not exactly. But it does mean the fight isn't really against your phone. It's against the gap, the space of not knowing that your dopamine system is wired to chase. Some people close that gap by turning off notifications, removing the unpredictability that makes the lever worth pulling. Others build in their own version of certainty, like checking messages at set times instead of random ones, which quietly diffuses the variable reward that hooks you in the first place. Neither approach fights your nature. Both work with it. There's a strange kind of relief in knowing this. You're not broken. You're not undisciplined. You're running software that was optimized for a world of berry bushes and ridgelines, dropped into a world of infinite scroll. The forager in you never went anywhere. It just found a new field to wander. So tonight, when you feel your hand drift toward your phone for no clear reason, you don't have to ask what's wrong with you. You can ask what you're really foraging for. Because somewhere underneath the screen, underneath the apps, underneath 40,000 years of evolution, your phone is still within arm's reach, and some part of your brain is still wondering what it might find.